Alright, so if you guys are tired of making boring beats, this is the right video for you. So today I'm going to show you guys how you can actually make some catchy beats all from scratch in FL Studio. I'm going to break down everything from the melody to the drums in a step-by-step process. So let's not waste any more time, let's just jump right in. Alright, so we're now here in FL Studio 21, as you guys can see. And the first thing I want to do when it comes to making something catchy, I actually like turning up the BPM a little bit so we have it in a faster pace. The reason for this is because when something goes fast, usually people are really catching a groove to it, right? So I'm gonna bump this up to something like 165. And from here, we obviously want to lay down our first main melody. So to do that, I'm just going to open up a grand piano right here. It doesn't actually really matter what you go for as long as it is a piano, because we want to make sure that we make our main melody using a piano so we can hear everything. And then we can actually later on just use the pattern we have made with the piano and switch it into a different instrument if you want to do that. So in this case, I've just opened up Omnisphere using the LA Custom C7 grand piano. And from here, we're just going to open up the piano roll and pick a scale. Now I just want to keep this as simple as possible. So let's just go with a normal C minor scale. And now that we have the fundamentals pretty much laid down, it's time to actually create the catchy pattern. Now, the secret when it comes to actually making these catchy type of patterns is actually very simple. I'm not gonna overcomplicate this for you guys, but you just gotta make sure that you actually nail it down. So the secret is really just to make sure that your pattern is repetitive and that you also make sure to keep a lot of the notes consistent. The reason for this is because when you keep your notes consistent, ear is already used to hearing this type of note and it's really going to emphasize your whole pattern. Now, when I say that you guys need to use the same notes or keep the notes consistent, I don't mean to use the same note over and over and over again. What we want to do is make sure that we use the same notes, but that we either pitch it up or pitch it down or just use some sort of inversions on the same note that we've already used previously in the pattern. So I'll just quickly give you guys a couple examples of this. So since we are working in the C minor scale, let's just lay down our pattern so you guys can get a hold of what I'm talking about. So we're simply going to start off by doing a simple C minor triad right here. Now with this triad right here, you guys can see that we're using 3 different notes. So I'm actually going to delete the middle note. I'm going to try to keep these 2 pretty consistent throughout the whole thing. So this one, we're just going to push it a little bit to the side. And then with this C, we're actually going to copy this and pitch it up 1 octave. So we're pretty much using the same note. As you guys can see, we're using the C right here as well as the C right here. And then to keep this note consistent again, we're going to copy the same C and pitch it up 1 octave again. So now we pretty much have 3 C notes that we're using throughout this whole pattern right here. Now obviously I'm going to extend this out a little bit so we don't have them all hitting at the same time, but this C right here, I'm actually going to move it slightly off grid. Alright, now for that top note, which is the G4 right here. Right now for that top note we had in the triad, we're going to try to keep this consistent as well. So what we're actually going to do with this one is to chop it up right here. So we kind of have it hit twice right there. This again, keeping the notes consistent. What I'm going to do from here is just copy this note up 1 octave as well. And I'm just going to move this a little bit to the side yet again. So we kind of have that strumming type of sensation on these 2 hits. The cool thing about them is that they hit at the same time, but it's actually the same note hitting. Just this one is a little bit higher pitched. Now from here, I'm already just going to go in and start lowering the velocity a little bit on some of the notes. This is just to help get a more realistic sound. So for the first part, we're just going to have it right here. Now we obviously want to build a little bit off of this so we can have it be more catchy towards right here as well. So the way I'm going to do this is actually by kind of actually having this not just be 1 bar, but make sure that it is 2 bars. So we're just going to extend it out a little bit. I'm going to start off by extending this out for 2 bars. And from here, we can also extend this out maybe right here or here. We definitely want to add some more notes towards the end of the second bar or kind of the whole first bar that we have right here. And then I'm going to try to keep this note consistent as well. So let's just cut that right there. Keeping these notes consistent, since we are already having 2 playing right here, we can maybe add that one towards the end as well. And then since it is a new bar, we can actually start to experiment with maybe adding 1 more note that we actually haven't used. So the way I'm going to do that is actually just going back to the triad that we were making in the first place. So this was kind of our triad right here. Now let's just actually use this note right here and pitch it up by 1 octave. So it kind of goes in a downwards trajectory right there. And then just to create a little bit of tension, I'm just going to add 2 pretty much filler notes up at top right here. You can pretty much experiment with this. The main thing is that just to make sure that these notes are pretty consistent, because that's really what's going to give you that catchy type of sound. Right, so that right there is pretty much the first 2 bars. Now, like I said, to make this stuff repetitive, we kind of just want to copy this over and just do a few adjustments here and there just to make sure that the sound differentiates a little bit but still keeps that repetitive momentum and pattern. So the next two bars are pretty much gonna be very similar to this. We just kind of want to keep the same fundamental stuff and make sure that we use a lot of the same notes that we were using on the first bar. So let's start off with, again, copying the C over. That's really gonna keep stuff repetitive. And from here, I'm pretty much just gonna copy some of the notes that we're already using and just laying them a little bit throughout this whole two bar right here. So we can have something like this. Just copy that over. As you guys can hear, the repetitive type of stuff. It really catches your ear because it's super repetitive, but still has a little bit of difference to it, and it's super catchy also. Now, if you guys are still struggling with your midis or you can't really get those super cool and unique sounding melodies, then you guys obviously don't have to worry, because I have a sale at the moment on the Mirage multi-kit, which actually includes a whole melody MIDI kit with actually 50 different melody midis, as you guys can see to the left right here. But that's not it. You also get a drum kit, a phrases kit with a lot of different phrases, which you can also add to the MIDI that you're using, as well as a portal bank, sample pack, and a texture pack, all in one bundle. Make sure you check it out because it's currently on sale. So if you guys still haven't got the kit, you can check it out on BBMarko.com or just click the first link down below. Now, obviously, if you guys don't want to use the midis, you can just learn to create them yourself right here. But since we have now actually used a piano melody, I think it's actually time that we go in different VSTs and instruments, just so we can see if we can actually switch the sound so we can get something that is a bit cooler sounding. So to do that, I'm just going to open up Omnisphere using the unclean machine bank. I'm just going to look through a couple of the different presets, see if we can find something that is a little bit cooler. So I really like this sound right here. It's the Flux vibes. Pretty much looking at the bells section. Gonna turn down the hiss. I'm gonna look some more as well. Alright, so I actually like this way better. It's a super clean sound. Once we add some effects to these bells right here, they're gonna sound crazy. So with that being said, let's open up the mixer right away and add a little bit of reverb. %25 on that. Next is RC20. I don't like the noise. Let's use the 103 preset. Turn the wobble up a bit. I'm also gonna open up Portal. As I told you guys, you have the Mirage Portal bank over here as well, so let's just use that. I think I want to use 2 of the presets actually. So let's try to open up the second one. Yeah, this is fire. You have that catchy pattern right there that's really helping this whole movement go through. You can also add a kickstart too if you want that pulse type of sound. That's also super catchy because people can really bounce to this. Right, the next thing we want to do now is add some sort of layer to the whole thing. The reason why we need to do this is because the main melody is a little bit dry as it is. So just to add some more atmosphere and a little bit of a background layer, I'm just going to open up Arcade, and I did find this preset right here. Some sort of electric piano or guitar type of sound, which you can just tuck in the back of the whole thing. So this also has that catchy type of sound. I think I'm going to add an imager to widen out the sound a little bit as well. So let's just find that. Go in here and do the stereo separation even a bit wider. I'm also going to go into the Mirage multi-kit in the 808 section. I have a sub bass that I'm going to add in the background. It's this stash bass right here, just to fill out the low end as well. Really has a super smooth sound to it. Now just to finish off that layer I was talking about, we're also going to open up a grand piano again. This time I don't think we're actually going to switch the sound, we're just going to keep the piano sound as it is. And we just kind of want to add a little bit of a layer. So what I'm going to do is just make that triad chord that we kind of have the whole pattern foundation out of, and just invert this so we have it up a bit. And then if we play right now, we can just build a little bit off of this. Maybe slice this up and strum these first notes as well. So this is going to act as that layer. These we can maybe even remove. I'm actually just going to lower the velocity on those two. Yeah, that's way better. Still have that catchy pattern going on. Alright, I actually also went into Spice and I found this vocal right here. This I'm actually just going to slice up and have it play twice, as well as the ending of the vocal towards the end right here. That's like the ending of the second part of the vocal. So I'm actually just going to have that in the background. Again, the reason why I'm slicing it up and using it over and over again is to really create that repetitive and catchy type of sound. So with the vocal it sounds like this. So it's super repetitive. And you kind of have that switch up towards the end as well. Right, so with that being done, now it's time that we add some drums. As for the drums I'm using, they're of course coming from both the Mirage Multi-Kit and the Motion Bundle Kit. So if you guys like any of the drum sounds you hear in this video, make sure to go check out the kit. Like I said, they're all on my website, which is BBMarko.com, or just check out the links down below. I even have my course down there if you guys are interested in learning more about music theory and pretty much how to actually make an income as a music producer. Now with all that being said, let's make sure that we finish off this beat strong. So let's drag in those claps. Really create a bounce with these right here. Just get that rhythm going. That's the hi-hat pattern right there. Super catchy stuff. You want to keep the drums basic as well. Let's add that in. And then some rims. Something like this. With the sub bass in the background, we're obviously going to remove that and add the 808. So when stuff is super catchy, you just want to make sure that your drums are pretty much basic and let the whole melody and sample carry the catchiness out of this whole beat. This is something you can really just bob your head to over and over again. That's pretty much the drums right there. Now we're just going to quickly arrange the whole thing. And we'll take a final listen. Alright, so here we have the full beat, pretty much very simply arranged.
Shut up, Marko.
Really nothing spectacular on the arrangement, I've just kept it very simple. Because we want to keep that stuff repetitive. Just want to emphasize how catchy this type of melody is. Really how catchy you can make this stuff. So here we have the main part. Hear how simple the drums are. It's really just letting the melody carry it. And then in the background you get that vocal. So just those slight few changes can really go a long way. Slow things a bit down right here. Still keeping it busy. This reminds me of something of like somebody like Fredo or somebody would hop on. Back with the 808. Something like a bridge right here. Just adding a few risers here and there, really just impact the hit. That's it.